Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to, I don't know how I should call this, Caleones. Welcome to Force In Unison Live Cross, the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 44, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Of course, joining me like always, my partner in crime, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones, in this beautiful night?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? Evans, Dig. Yeah, we're doing like Dantes said, a little bit of crossover because usually on Sundays we have the Force Unison live after the time change that we did. But yesterday we're supposed to have the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. Dantes, he had certain arrangements with his work, but we actually took that time to finish up our Splatoon 2 Splatfest, leveling up all the way to King. So now we're doing a crossover. We're combining Get In and Get Out and the Force Unison live podcast, and we're going to be having those today. So there's going to be plenty of news. It's going to be covering not only Nintendo, but Sony and Microsoft as well. So Dantes, go ahead and take it away so we can get it started.
So let's do a rigmarole, but I do want to clear quickly that this is an official Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. That's why the number is episode 44. But with that said, I want to welcome everybody to Force In Unison Live Cross Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast episode 44 right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also remember, you can get this podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, we do have a Facebook page called Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, Caleones, are you ready? People in the chat, are you ready? For the no one in attendance. And the 8 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's and Shuhei hot topics of the week.
My body is ready.
My body's ready. Go ahead, Caleones, with the first piece of news.
Okay, well, the first piece of news is, of course, the release of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Nintendo Switch. It is a game that I guess it caused a little bit of controversy because if you have a Wii U, for those for those 5 of you that still have a Wii U, the game is you can get it as low as $20, but it is being sold for the Nintendo Switch at $60, and it does include a new mode, which is the funky mode. It's not really like an easy mode, but it does make it easier because Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best platformers of the last decade, and it is very demanding and very hard as well. So currently over on Metacritic, it is sporting a total of 45 positive reviews, 4 mixed, no negative reviews, and it has a Metacritic score of 86% right now. So Dantes, what are your thoughts about the game and their release?
So I know that a couple of sites have increased their score. Like IGN originally gave the game a low score, and now they gave it a 9. I know that created some controversy too, but also people, you guys have to remember different reviewers. That means that a new person review the game has a different opinion. So let's get that out of the way quickly. So it doesn't matter. It's still a good score. 86 is a really good Metacritic score. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Donkey Kong, and Caleones knows this, but it's a quality game. Again, the only concern is that Nintendo's been really living with ports this year. I mean, there's just been too many ports, Caleones. There needs to be a balance. I'm not against ports because, all of them does it. Sony and Microsoft does it too, but there's just been too many ports from Nintendo, from the Wii U. And I know that a lot of people did not play a lot of those games in the Wii U, so Nintendo's just saying, let's bring it to this new audience that they have, which makes sense. I am not denying that either. I'm hoping for the Xenoblade Chronicles X port too. I'm just saying they just need to be a little bit better balanced, Caleones, and more trickle in between your big releases right there. But it seems like Nintendo is more surviving this year. Hopefully E3 will change that. I am hoping about that. We shall see. But anyway, still good score. I don't have much to say. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Donkey Kong. I don't know if you have played the original, Caleones, and you can give your perspective about the game.
Well, for me, like I said, the game is is pretty hard. It is. I mean, somewhat similar to the I guess the Wii version. But with what Retro Studios did with this one, it is when it comes to the platform, when it comes to the action, when it comes to the levels themselves, boss fight, they went ahead and took it over to another level. So I believe this is probably the best Donkey Kong Country game out of all of them, and that counts the ones that came out under Super NES. But the only gripe that I have with this game particularly is the two-player mode. Even though the game is a great platforming game and it's great on single player, when you play it on two-player mode, it is kind of hard. It doesn't really move as fluid, and you really have to, well, I guess be have some sort of patience because the screen doesn't really move properly when you have the two players on there. So that's the only downside that I have for the game. I haven't played the Switch version, but of course, with the Switch version comes the funky mode. It comes with better graphics, better performance, added animations. So overall, what they're doing is they're making a great game, even better. So if you never played it on the Wii U, definitely go ahead and pick it up and play it. If you already played it on the Wii U, I mean, funky mode, if you already played it and beat it, funky mode is just going to make it easier. So, just, pat your back because you were able to defeat it and as, hard as it was. But it is a game like others that have already gotten the Switch treatment. Like, Bayonetta 2 is one that came out on the Wii U, coming out on the Switch. It is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is another one. So those are games that are the definitive titles for the system. Not many people bought the Wii U. A little over 13 million Wii U's were sold. And this game particularly didn't really sell as well because they weren't, they didn't really have that many owners, Wii U owners, to go ahead and pick it up. So it does make absolute sense, for them to port it over. Another one that's going to be coming over shortly is going to be the one, the Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, which is another one that's going to be making its way. Yep. Well, I mean, another port, but another one that does deserve to be part of it. So I expect this game to not only review great, but I also expect it to sell great. And I expect Nintendo to continue porting the most important titles from the Wii U to the Switch, because not only do you allow people that love the game on the Wii U to own it again, or people that never played the game before to be able to play it now on the Switch, but also it does help with Nintendo covering those release months, so it doesn't really feel like there's no releases or anything like that. So that way people are regularly getting first party titles as well. I mean, that's
the only complaint that I have, Caleones, is that it's $60. That's if Sony, I'm not gonna bring it. Well, we got today a mixed show, but if Sony can bring a game like Ratchet and Clank, which is a AAA platformer, $40, Caleones. Don't tell me that Nintendo could not bring this game $40, it being basically the same game, just adding the Surfer Monkey as an easy mode. That's my big complaint. I know I'm complaining too about too many ports, but it is understandable. They need to they don't want to show that they're in a drought right now. They need to keep bringing games. Again, those games are for a new audience, Switch owners. It's already close to 20 million. So, I mean, they're already over 5 million in the install base compared to the original Wii U. So, it makes sense. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that these ports should deserve a little bit of a price break, Caleones. And I think $40 should have been more fine for Nintendo. Again, if you're fine, I'm okay if you have never played the game. Do you buy it for 60? Should have been 40, but that's fine. But if you're really a big fan and you want to buy it again at 60, again, just to have it portable, that is a big price tag for your original fans, Caleones. That's what I'm saying. They should have had some kind of discounts, at least for your original fans. But anyway, unless you want to say something about that, we can move to the next piece of news.
Well, I mean, the only thing I wanted to say is that I have to give props to Sony because something they're doing right is titles like the Uncharted Lost Legacy. That's the correct title.
Yeah,
right?
Lost Legacy.
Yep. So that one they released for $40, even though they could very well charge $60 for the game, because it's not like a game that you can beat in 5 hours, 6 hours. It is a pretty lengthy game, has a pretty lengthy storyline as well. Even though it was originally going to be like
DLC.
an DLC for 4, but they made it a full-fledged game, but still released it at $40. Also, with the release of Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, that's another one that released for $40 as well. And they made more improvements to Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy than they did for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which they added a new mode, the Funky mode, and just like improved the graphics and animation. So, but it coming from the Wii U, it was already an HD title. So they didn't really work on it as much as
it feels like a straight
Activision
port.
did.
Yeah, it's like a straight port. So.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I believe Nintendo, they should have charged $40. I know that the game's still gonna sell for $60, and they can very well just do a price drop after. But still,
but they don't do price drops, so.
Yeah, no, but this is one of those where yes, just go ahead and take a price cut, release it for $40.
You're gonna make money.
Yeah, you're still gonna make the money anyways, and not only are you gonna allow people that already have it on the Wii U get it again, because I mean the price is justified by being lower, but you're gonna be more welcoming to those other people that basically they were raising hell when they removed the game from the eShop, from the Wii U eShop, because they felt like they were forcing you to buy the game for the Switch, because they took it away from the Wii U eShop, even though I say if you wanted to play the game, you would have bought it already and not waiting until now to try to get it on the Wii U. But yeah, I mean it's one of those where hopefully a Nintendo, and we're going to talk about this later, they're because they're under new management, and they have a new vision when it comes to the new president. So we'll see if these are things that they may consider going forward and that they can improve upon.
Yep, agreed. Hey, Dick, I'll let Caleones answer that question in the chat when he gets a chance. But anyway, let's go to the next piece of news, Caleones.
Okay, and the next piece of news is going to be one that makes Dantes have a big smile from ear to ear, and it is that God of War has become the fastest-selling PS4 exclusive title ever. What does that tell you? It tells you that on the first 3 days of the game's release, the game sold over 3.1 million copies, and that was in just 3 days. So I mean, it's going to be interesting once the NPD comes out and we start looking at the total sales. But 3.1 million copies sold in just 3 days is pretty impressive, isn't it, Dantes?
It is. I never expected that. I mean, the best-selling God of War was God of War 3. I guess this Dad of Boy is people who play the game know that joke. But God of War, this game, is just hit a new core. I think the soft reboot of the franchise just helped it. I think the game is way better now. I just today I got my plat for God of War, and that was one of the most fun plats that I've done in a while. I haven't had that sensation that I had like a plat that I was like so happy to do it. I think the last one that I did that I enjoy so much was The Last of Us, getting that plat, Caleones. So again, game is awesome. They got something here to expound upon. I think the next game is gonna be bigger. This could be your Batman Arkham Asylum. And if you guys are Batman fans, you will understand what I mean. And then when you move to Arkham City, the games just get bigger. And I believe that's going to happen because Corey was explaining how the reason this game took 5 years to make is because they started from scratch. It was new engine, new tools, everything from scratch. Now that they have the engine, they feel that the next game could be sooner. Possibly maybe 3 years or so, right? And they can get more of Naughty Dog. Have you seen why Naughty Dog produces so many games so fast? It's because they got the engine down first, Caleones, and they're able to work and improve on those tools. So you have to give credit to Naughty Dog. They're a perfect example of being efficient with the tools that you have. I mean, how many Naughty Dog games we already had in the PlayStation 4 era? Then Santa Monica, this is the first one, Caleones, so that you can see there that maybe they struggle with this. I'm hoping when PlayStation 5 rolls around, again, with the engine in place, they'll do better, more efficient role in giving you at least 2 God of Wars in the next PlayStation, because this game hit it out of the park. You can see it. People are talking about it. Even my my friends, my kids' friends from school were talking about it. They told me two things they're talking about: Fortnite and God of War. So God of War is being spoken at school like Fortnite. So I was surprised. The sales should prove it. But also, this brings to that topic that you brought up, and I think we had a great discussion last time, is Sony fans finally buying PlayStation exclusives? Because for many years, PlayStation has delivered a lot of exclusives, but they're not the biggest sellers, right? And the PlayStation 3 era, you could see God of War, even though the install base for PlayStation was around 80 million, they only sold 5 million copies of God of War 3. Uncharted, again, the same. It landed around 5 million units sold. This Uncharted 4 is getting close to the 10 million. Horizon Zero Dawn is close to the 9 million, 8 million. Now this God of War, I expect to hit the 10 million mark too. And I don't remember the last time Sony had multiple IPs in their catalog hitting those 10 million marks, which is, I think, when you get to 10 million, to me, 1 to 5 million is a success. When you sell over 10 million, it's a blockbuster, in my opinion, right? So they never had multiple IPs blockbusters. The only IP that sold over 10 million was Gran Turismo during the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 days. And that's it. So, I mean, what I'm going to say this, and then I'll let Caleones speak. The reason I believe that's the case is because a lot of people buy Sony consoles for multiple different reasons. Some people buy it for the multifunctional service like Blu-ray, streaming and stuff like that. Other people buy it, and when you become the best-selling console, it happens where the casuals buy your system, and a lot of casuals just buy it for Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront, and that's it. And that's the only games that they play, which is fine. Or a lot of people just buy it because their friends is at. Now, the hardcore fan base is the one that buys your exclusives, and that's where Nintendo, I always believe, always had a more rabid hardcore fan base. They buy their exclusive, and a lot of people buy Nintendo consoles like me as a secondary console to buy their exclusives. So that's the main reason why you have that. Now, admittedly, if you look at the number, Caleones, during the Wii era, the Wii sold over 100 million, but Zelda Skyward Sword only sold like 3 million, if my memory doesn't fail me. I think it was one of the lowest selling Zelda games of all time. And that just shows you, because again, a lot of it was because, again, a lot of people bought the Wii for the Wii Sports. That's the admittedly. A lot of people bought the Wii, I got a lot of dust, and then put it on the side once they were done with it, which it sucks because I always defend the Wii. The Wii had a great lineup. I love Skyward Sword. I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I love both Mario Galaxy games. I love Metroid Prime 3, Caleones. If I keep going and going, I'm just keep telling you about great damn games that the Wii had. And it's so sad that was the lowest generation for Nintendo sales on their exclusives. Now, you can see the difference on the Switch now, where they expanding and the Switch is selling their exclusives. And you can see that with the numbers with Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. Even though I believe that Galaxy is a better game, Odyssey is going to sell way more than Galaxy. It is what it is. But anyway, with that said, I don't know, Caleones, you want to chime in? I think that was a good conversation we had last time. I don't know if you want to add something to that.
Well, I was going to say, like, you mentioned God of War and then Fortnite, and we had Fortnite Cool just pop up on the chat as soon as you said Fortnite. So it's like you called him over to the chat. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to God of War, the next God of War, it will be on the PlayStation 5. And this God of War is going to receive some sort of 4K treatment and be on the PlayStation 5 as well. And the best, the reason for that is
remember,
yes,
Sony.
No, well, to some extent, but also remember, The Last of Us, the PS3 version of The Last of Us sold over 6 million copies on the PS3, and then they re-released the game on the PS4, and that game sold over 6 million copies as well. So if you combine both of them, they sold over 12 million copies in between the PS3 and the PS4. So if Sony can find a way to have some sort of re-release of God of War on the PS5. Unless, like you said, they do some sort of backwards compatibility. But if they
let me intervene there quickly. Let me intervene quickly because I want to hit Sony hard on this one. If they better release backward compatibility, I don't want to see re-releases, Caleones. If Xbox did it, it is on Sony's best interest to keep their fan base happy that they release backwards compatibility with some kind of enhancements like Xbox does. Pure and simple. I don't want to hear an excuse from Sony. I'm telling you right now, Sony, you better not be re-releasing games just because they had an update in resolution. Okay, go ahead, Caleones. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, but yes, pretty much. I mean, when you have something like that, if you can milk it, I mean, like any company would do it, just so they can go ahead and make their extra cash. But I mean, like you said, That is a feature that is a must. It is something that has made the PlayStation suffer, and the PlayStation 3, because even though the PlayStation 3, when it first released, it did have it, they went ahead and took it away afterwards. So, and that really hurt. But yes, God of War, is doing great. Sony is, I mean, I'm pretty sure like the director of the game, he's gonna get a free slate of making whatever game he wants. And I believe they said something about that he already had the story for like 3 or 4 more games of God of War.
Yeah,
So
well, it was a miscommunication, but he says he has the outline, not the story itself, because
okay.
they have just the outline. It just gives you an idea for the writers later on what to follow or what map to follow. But
Yeah,
yes.
but that tells you that even though I mean this game is not going to suffer from, oh wait, the game became a hit, so now we got to find a way to create sequels. No, they were thinking about sequels from the get
Oh
go.
yeah,
So
the ending
it's gonna
show
look
that, but
more
yeah,
fluid.
yep,
Yeah, it's gonna be more fluid on how it translates from this game over to the sequel. So the next one coming out. So that's what I meant from that one.
yep.
But going over with the next piece of news, Dantes, and this is going back over to Nintendo. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa he explains his vision for Nintendo for once he takes over the company. So this was an interview that they were having, and he stated, and I'll go ahead and just quote it. It's not really as much, but he said, the one thing we must never forget when running Nintendo is that we are a company that makes entertainment products and playthings, not necessities. It is a business where our mere existence could be quickly forgotten if consumers stopped considering our products to be fun and interesting. No matter how the era or the environment changes, the essence of our business will not change. It is a high risk business, so there will be times when business is good and times when business is bad. But I want to manage the company in a way that keeps us from shifting between joy and despair. As for the question of what kind of company I want to make of Nintendo, this is a company that continues to be an integrated hardware and software business in the world of dedicated video game platforms. We work hard to keep the odds of success in our favor, but there are times when things go well and times when they do not. This is a high risk business by its very nature, and that will not change. But we need to be a company that continues to ask ourselves what we can do to maintain our relationship with consumers and how we can leverage our ingenuity to mitigate the risk even a little bit and never come to the conclusion that there is nothing we can do. So basically, what this tells me is that yes, Nintendo's going to find newer ways, to continue forward, but that they're still going to keep the same, their same model, which is they're going to create their own platforms and they're going to continue to create games for that platform, and that they're going to try to continue to innovate and not come to the conclusion that there's nothing else that they can come up with. So it is. I guess a little reassuring, because you fear that maybe one day you're going to get a president and say, you know what, we're spending so much money on creating consoles that we might as well just create the games for the other ones. The other ones already have the consoles themselves, so we don't have to spend money on creating them. We just have to create the game, and it's going to be basically pure profit when it comes to it. But I'm glad that he's going to continue with the innovation. This is something that Nintendo has been known for from the very beginning. And Nintendo is a company that's over 140 years old. So even though they will continue to embrace change and they're going to continue to come up with new things, they're still going to stay, I'll say, true to their nature of what the company represents.
Okay, so the only thing I'm gonna say though is I think let me put it this way. I think Kimishima is not dumb. The reason they worked to pick him was because he aligned with the vision of the company going forward. And I think that you can see the vision that they're aligning is a more streamlined vision where you have less people in the way of making decisions. They're uniting both their handheld and console groups. So that way you have one platform that just delivers games and games and games. At least the AAA titles, I mean. I know that they're still remaking some games for the 3DS and they don't want to let the 3DS die. But if you see all what they're doing on the 3DS right now, Caleones, are just remakes, basically. There's nothing, or ports. There's nothing new for the 3DS, what I meant, right? So it's which is fine. We got a story to talk about how Luigi's Mansion is being developed by Gresso, the same people who work with the Ocarina of Time port for the 3DS. So you can see that Nintendo's just outsourcing some of the work that they're doing for the 3DS. But the main Nintendo teams, they are focusing on the Switch all in, right? And you can see that more unity, more streamline, faster decision making. And of course, he mentioned something I'm not a big fan, but I understand. Was they also he's gonna focus on mobile games, so he's gonna try to bring more mobile games to make more profit in the mobile market. They're making good profit. Nintendo's making profit all around. They're a good, healthy company. Honestly, I think they're more healthy right now than Sony. So that's what I'm saying. So I think Nintendo is doing really good job, and I think he'll do fine as long as he doesn't mess it up. And to your point, Nintendo will always add that ace in the back of their hand, Caleones, that if something goes catastrophic bad, Sega bad, Nintendo can easily just pull their games on other system. And if Odyssey sells 10, 11 million just in one console, imagine if Odyssey was in the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. That thing would sell like 30 to 40 million units, Caleones. So they would be, like you said, making a lot of more money. So they always have that back ace if they need to be. But I'm glad that they're keeping with the hardware. It's not the same. It is not a good world, Caleones, if Nintendo goes out of the console business. It will not feel the same. Nintendo's been doing it for so many years, and we need them to stay in this console business, because a lot of people may not give them credit, because a lot of hardcore console gamers are looking for power. But Nintendo pushes Sony and Microsoft to innovate. And what I mean with that is that Nintendo can compete with them with power, but they can compete with them on innovation. And that's where you can see where Nintendo is pushing the envelope on this side. You can see where Sony now is pushing the envelope on this side. And even I'm going to give credit to Xbox. I know this is going to surprise you. And you can see our Xbox is pushing the envelope and the innovation on the feature side of their system, right? They're struggling with games, but they are giving you features that I believe puts Sony and Nintendo in a back corner, saying, oh, crap, next system, we have to have backward compatibility. The expectation is going to be there, Caleones, right? So that's where I think, again, we need them, and we need Nintendo to stay strong. And I'm happy that he's saying that he's going to keep doing hardware. So,
well, it seems you're talking about Microsoft and how they've been innovating. We're going to go over and move over to the other Xbox. I guess like their sales increase and their promises when it comes to the E3. So basically, they released an update. This was a couple of days ago on May 2nd, and they were talking about milestones that they have achieved and how they're looking ahead over to E3. So they stated that Xbox Live monthly active users has grown by 13% year on year, and they're currently at 59 million users. And that Xbox One sales are up year on year by 15%. Before we continue over, I want to get your comments on this, because it's not that they're talking about how many consoles they're selling, how many games they're selling. They're just talking about how many more people are using Xbox Live now than this time last year, and how many Xbox One systems have been sold compared to this time last year. So, this time last year, the Xbox One X wasn't out. So you would think that the Xbox would have sales increase when it comes to the system. But is Xbox Live monthly active users something that they should be bragging about?
I mean, the only sad part, if they were saying, because what they're saying is active users as in Xbox Live, they're not saying how many has Xbox Live Gold. That's the one that are pay users. Like, even example, PlayStation announced that they have PlayStation Plus, because they announced members like that. PlayStation Plus members were around 35 million on a console that is around 80. So I expect Xbox Live Gold to be around in the same area, because Xbox is known for that service. So I'm guessing they're even though they have less, at worst, they could be around the same area that PlayStation is. But that's the sad part. They're not telling you at least, and they're hiding a lot of numbers, because it is what it is. If the stockholders are happy with that, it's fine. The only number that stockholders care about, Caleones, is that they grew in revenue on an Xbox department, where a lot of years they've been losing money. Now, they did not make anywhere near close money to Sony and Nintendo money, where those areas just destroy the Xbox. Now, Xbox, because they survive from other businesses, they're a way bigger company than Sony and Nintendo combined. But if you put just the video game branch of the side, yes, Xbox is getting their ass destroyed. But Sony depends on PlayStation. Right now, PlayStation is keeping Sony alive. And Nintendo is a video game maker. So that's the only thing that they do, right? So you can see where the revenue over there is just way bigger right now. But I wish they could tell you the numbers. I wish they would, but it is what it is. I mean, it's just, if they were winning, they would be bragging the numbers, Caleones. They're not winning. Or if they were close, at least, they would be bragging the numbers. They're not even close. That's the truth. They're getting their ass kicked. You can see it. They haven't won an MPD yet since after the Xbox One X came out. It's always been Nintendo and Sony back and forth between the MPD. So you can see that. You can see it. So it is fine. But the biggest news I think I wanted to touch on, and I'll let you then, is the E3 portion of it, which is going to be interesting what they stated. So.
Yeah, and on the E3 portion, they were saying that this is going to be the biggest E3 yet, and two, that they're going to be, I guess, Phil Spencer, I'm sorry, he teased some JRPG announcement for Microsoft E3 conference. So it seems like they will be bringing the games. That's what they've been teasing. It's of course something that we've been waiting for a long time. I do have an Xbox One, and when it comes to first-party titles, it is. I mean, saying that it is lacking is a big understatement. So, from every indication they're giving, it seems like they will be bringing the games. And when it comes to the games, usually or lately, they've been announcing titles that will be releasing shortly after. So hopefully, those game announcements that they make are going to be something that we're going to see sometime this year, or at least early next year, so we don't have to wait too long for those games.
So yeah, that's the reason I want it, because Xbox is famous for exaggerating, I guess, in their promotional material, if you put it that way. Every year is their biggest lineup, is their biggest E3. They said the same thing last year, and we saw the conference. I didn't see a single game, Caleones, that I was impressed by on that conference from their first-party studio, to clarify. So again, they're just saying the same shtick. The problem is this time people are expecting it. I think the last couple of months have been rough for Xbox. That God of War drop, and it's just they've been getting hammered because it showed the weakness where you have a company like Sony, again, which are making money on PlayStation, but as a company that is not like the most healthy either. They spend more money on their brand, on the PlayStation brand, than Xbox, which has a lot of money. They should be the ones cracking out AAA games one after the other, Caleones, right? And Sony already had 290 Metacritics this year. 4 first-party exclusives were the only first-party exclusive, if you call it exclusive now because it's on PC too now, but Sea of Thieves is not faring that well, right? So it just showed the weakness. So people are expecting it. I believe people will be expecting it, and this is the time. Xbox need to show a roadmap on this E3 more than any other console, Sony and Nintendo. E3 is a big time for Xbox, and they better deliver, because I see it a lot on Twitter. I see a lot on comment section, people jumping ship saying, I'm done. Why am I spending time on the Xbox brand when I could get the same thing with exclusives and stuff like that on PlayStation? And at the same time, people stay with Xbox. Makes sense. They saying, okay, I'm going to keep my Xbox, but I'm going to buy a PlayStation. I'm going to buy a Switch, because at least I get their exclusives over there while I play third-party games on the Xbox, right? Again, like we talked last time, Xbox is not being bought as a secondary console, Caleones. I don't think you need it as a secondary console at all. So it's you buy it as a primary console, and that's it. I don't think you want to do it because you like their ecosystem, you like your friends are there. Makes sense. That's fine. You play where you would like to play. I'm just saying that it really doesn't make sense for me as a gamer. I put the library of games. Nintendo and Sony gives me what I want, but I'm a single player game more, so I admit that. But Xbox has only third-party games aside from Cuphead, which I bought. That's a good game. I'm just saying that's rare when you get, I need to buy Cuphead, Caleones, right? It's the only reason you have a console is buy for exclusives. And the reason I bought an Xbox was for the 4K Blu-ray player. It was cheap, but it is what it is. Anyway, we shall see, Caleones. The writing is on the wall for the Xbox brand this E3 for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, you always wish success. I know that people say, we would much rather just have one single console and have that console have all the games in it. But at some point, if there's only one out there, innovation is going to stop, and that's why you need the different consoles so they can continue to push each other into different spectrums, different ideas, different technologies, and just overall a better experience for the player. So that's why we need Microsoft to go ahead and bring their big guns and show us the games at E3. Moving over to the next one, and this is touching upon what you already stated on the previous article. This is talking about how why Kimishima selected Mr. Furukawa to be.
We're jumping to news burst. That's the first start of news burst. So
okay,
let me end that. Let me end hot topics, and let's switch today to Onuma's and Corey news bursts of the week. So what is the first quick fire piece of news? We're already 36 minutes in. A lot of topics today. So go ahead, Caleones. What is the first piece of news?
Okay. So we have actually glanced over this one already. It's about Mr. Kimishima stating why the reason why he selected Furukawa to be the next Nintendo president, and one of those was that he has he shares the company core values, and he's somebody that's not going to bend. Yes, he is also able to speak English. He worked overseas with other Nintendo companies or as well. So he's great communicating between different groups and all of that. But when it comes to the Nintendo core values, he's going to be someone that's not going to bend, and he's going to be able to continue the company tradition year in and year out.
Yep. I'm not gonna say much. We talked about it again. This is for you guys who are new. This is new burst. We just go quickly through the news, and we put maybe a couple of opinions here and there. But that makes sense. The reason he was picked is because he has the same vision that Nintendo wants to get to, and hopefully he'll do a good job. Anyway.
Yep. The next news article is Kimishima talking about why he's stepping down as Nintendo president. Of course, he came over to be the president because of Iwata's passing. And the first thing he was tasked about was making the transition between the Wii U and the Switch, make sure that the launch of the Switch, what's smooth, and for Nintendo to be able to be organized and be able to push the system and be successful. Also, he was able to another thing he was tasked was to structure the company and to make it more streamlined so they could make faster decisions when it came to it.
See it.
And that's something. And that's something that he's been successful by uniting those two departments, the 3DS, the Switch, making them one under one umbrella. That has helped out a lot. And the last one, is something that he was always looking for a successor. So even though he was doing all of this, he was also looking for the successor because he knew that it wasn't going to be something that he was going to be the president for years and years. He had one specific task. He was able to accomplish that. And he was ready to go ahead and select and move on.
Yep, and he did a job fine. I mean, he was picked. It was an emergency situation. He said it from the start. I don't know why people were surprised. Now, I was surprised because I thought he did a really good job. Why would you want to change it? But it was because from the start, his goal was to be a transitional president, just to get the ship rolling after the death of Iwata, right? So I think he did a job fine. He streamlined the company, and it's sad for him to go. And you can see that he always had a good sense of business because he was in Nintendo's board of directors, and he stated that the Wii U was going to be a failure before it came out. So he knew it. So you can see that, and he's going to be back on the news director news group, Nintendo's director group.
The board of
the board of directors. Thank you. God damn, I couldn't get out of my system. But he'll be back, and I'm guessing because he was president and he was successful, he will still have a voice and he will still have opinions where people are going to listen to him. And I believe that's still going to be helpful and still going to help the company move forward. So.
Yeah, and he was Nintendo of America president before Reggie as well. So so he's always been a big part of Nintendo, and he will continue to be a big part of Nintendo. Moving over to the next one, and this is talking about what Mr. Furukawa has been doing for the past 2 years, and what he's been doing is mapping out Nintendo's future. So basically, he has, this is when an interview that he had with Nikkei, and he said that, Kimishima stated that the Furukawa was chosen as new president because he knows how to get the most out of development teams, and he basically spent the last 2 years mapping out Nintendo's future. So it is somebody that understands the core values of Nintendo, that has a clear vision of what Nintendo wants, and that knows where Nintendo should be heading in the future. So basically, he is the man for the job.
We shall see.
Well, we shall see on that one. But going over with the next one, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze finally returned to the Wii U eShops. This is something that, like I mentioned before, it caused a lot of controversy. As soon as the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for the Switch was nearing its release date, the Wii U version of the game disappeared from the eShop. A lot of people were claiming that Nintendo removed it on purpose to force people to buy the game for the Switch, but they have returned it over to the Wii U. So for anybody that complained that they couldn't get it for the Wii U because they removed it, hopefully you're going to put those statements in your mouth. Go to the eShop and get it for the Wii U. Okay? Don't be a faker. If you were complaining about it, go and get it for the Wii U.
Yep. The only thing I'm going to say is that I think people need to stop overreacting quickly. I bet you it was a bug or something that happened. They were getting ready for the Switch release, and something happened, something stupid, because they have never removed the other ports that they've done, like Mario Kart, Bayonetta and stuff like that from the Wii U eShop. So,
well, I mean, they also never lowered the price on those ports either.
No, I know. I'm just saying they never have removed it. So you should give companies sometimes the benefit of the doubt if the track record is there. What I mean with that. So anyway, go ahead, Caleones.
Okay, going over with the next one. This is the sales charts from the UK, and the Nintendo Labo came in third place on its first week of release. Of course, you had God of War number 1, Far Cry 5 number 2, Nintendo Labo number 3, FIFA 18 number 4, Mario Kart Deluxe number 5, Fallout 4 6, Call of Duty World War II 7, Super Mario Odyssey 8, PUBG 9, and Grand Theft Auto 5 number 10. So I'll say, for what Nintendo Labo is, and this is the variety pack. It's not the robot one, but
yeah, the robot one seems not to be selling. No one wants to be walking with a big robot in
well, it is also more expensive, and you only have one single game instead of the other one where you have 5 different ones.
Yep.
But coming in at number 3 at the UK charts, I mean, for me that's actually pretty good, because normally Nintendo games don't sell as great in the UK, which is also nice to see that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still at number 5. And Super Mario Odyssey is number 8 as well. So for me, that's actually pretty good for Nintendo Labo.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Go ahead, Caleones. I don't have much to say. I think it's Labo is gonna be it's a long term before you can decide if it's a success or a failure. You have to wait and see. First week sales, and we're not gonna tell you that. So.
Well, moving on, this is something that Dantes also already touched upon, and is that Gresso is developing the 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion. Gresso, they're the ones, that are responsible for the Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, and the Triforce Heroes games for the 3DS. And their first, I'll say their original game, original title was Ever Oasis. Which released last year for the 3DS, and which it will be seeing a Nintendo Switch release as well. But for me, I'll say this is actually pretty good news, because it tells you that the original team for the Luigi Mansion games, they're not the ones doing the port. So they're actually working on whichever game it is. Hopefully it's going to be Luigi's Mansion 3, but they're not handling the remake. That's somebody else doing it. So the original team, it has its hands free on something else.
Yep. Yeah, I thought the same thing. We shall see. But the original team who did Dark Moon also did Federation Force. So hopefully they're doing Luigi's Mansion Let me put it that way for the Switch. But with this port coming, it does not make business sense, Caleones, to have Luigi's Mansion for the Switch announced this year. Maybe next year, but not this year. So.
Well, going over to the next one, Retro Studio writer and cinematic designer has left after 2 years. So this is John Verrill. He's been working with the Retro Studio, and he announced that he will be leaving the company. He has been with them for the past 2 years, and I mean, like, from the indication that we get from the article is that there's a possibility that he's already done with the project that he was signed up for, and he finished it, and he's ready to move on to something else. So maybe this indicates that Retro Studio is getting close to announcing whatever game it is that they have been working on. So do you feel the same way, Dantes, about this? And also, do you mind taking a shot at what kind of game it could be that Retro is working on?
I don't know. They've been getting into the Santa Monica level now. Soon they're gonna get into the Last Guardian level with this game, whatever game it is. I don't know. Hopefully it's a new IP. Retro is talented. They can do an adventure game. Maybe the Retro is building their own Uncharted or their own Tomb Raider, Caleones. I think Retro would be perfect for making that type of game, and you can see it with the type of adventure games that they did with the Metroid Prime series, right? So hopefully it's a new IP. Hopefully something more like that, an adventure game, something to that extent. But God, hopefully this E3 Retro will show something.
Well, I will tell you something, and I don't know. I know that you do not like rumors, but Emily Rogers, she's somebody that has made comments on certain rumors before, and they have come to fruition. At least a good portion of those. She did make an offhand comment of, what if Retro Studios was working on an old Nintendo IP, giving it a new genre? Of course, no specific words said, but at least, if you take something from that comment, it means that they're probably working on an old IP from Nintendo, but giving it a new, I guess a new way of playing it. Great example of this is God of War. God of War is an old Sony IP, but they gave it a new genre from the original one. So hopefully, Retro is getting to. They got to pick whichever IP they wanted to work on, and just giving it whatever twist it is that they wanted to. Because as a developer, they're one of the very best. But yes, it is time. We need to see it.
We shall see. Go ahead, Caleones, with the next one.
Okay, next one is that the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller now has official Steam input support. This was announced, 3 days ago on, 4 days ago on May 2nd. And now that, you don't only have to use your Nintendo Switch Pro Controller on the Switch itself, you can also use it on your PC for Steam. So are you going to be jumping on that one, Dantes?
I don't think so, because I already got it all set up with the Xbox controller, and the Xbox controller is fine. But I have to say that the Switch controller is a great controller too. So if you really like that controller and you can use it in Steam games, hey, more options. They're always good.
Okay, moving on. This is the Golden Week sales. So they had the release from the sales numbers about the sales in Japan with Yikoi Powerful Pro Baseball landing at number 1 and 2 on the list.
Japanese gamers like weird shit.
Yeah, with for the PS4 and PS Vita, the PS4 version of the game sold 124,000 copies in its first week.
God of War, wish he had those numbers over there.
Yeah, God of War came in at second place on its first release with the Nintendo Labo Variety Pack coming in at number 1. At least this way, this week it had a little redemption. Even though, actually, I'm not sure, because I'm looking at the sales on here. Even though God of War came in at number 3 and Nintendo Labo came in at number 4, Nintendo Labo actually did have less sales. So God of War had 29, or a little over 29,000. Labo had 25,000. Splatoon 2 is still up there with 18,000 at number 5. Kirby Star Allies, number 6. Ota Waramo Mono, Lullaby for Those Who Are Scattered at number 7. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 8. SD Gundam G Generation Genesis number 9. and The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 2 at number 10. So Nintendo Labo is still holding on, close to the very top. It has sold 116,000 just for that pack. With the robot having fallen out of the top 20 at this moment.
Yeah, I think that's a signal, though, Caleones. To your point, I think the robot is just one game, and my son played it for one day, and that's it. Look, I'm seeing it right now on the floor throwing there because it's cumbersome having all that shit on top of you. I think the priority pack is gonna be the better value and maybe the one that lasts longer. So.
Okay, going over to the next one, and it's that CD Projekt Red will be attending E3 2018 to showcase an RPG.
Cyberpunk. It's Cyberpunk. We all know it's Cyberpunk, but.
So it is Cyberpunk.
No, I'm just saying we all know that's the one that they've been working on. So I'm assuming they're saying showcases that they're gonna show gameplay out of it. And after Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red are in that status with Rockstar and Naughty Dog and Nintendo developers. So I think that's what they're gonna show. We'll just see.
Okay, so we'll see if it's going to be that one. Either way, you always look forward to what that company has to bring. I know you're not too fond of the type of games that they make, but because they're not just your type of games, but they're still, one of the best developers in the world.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. They're in the upper tier there with those developers. The reason I haven't played Witcher is because Witcher takes like a long ass time to get that plat, and this year I only had 3 plats, and if I start playing a game like that, I'm gonna end up with 4 plats the whole year. And with the lifestyle that we live, it's hard to pick up games that big right now. I don't know. That's what sucks for me. I think their games are cool. It's just too long. So.
Yeah, especially since you're a compulsive person, you need to get the platinum trophy, and on something like The Witcher 3, it's gonna be way too many hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Caleones.
Okay, moving over to the next one, and we did touch upon this as well. Phil Spencer teases the RPGs on Xbox E3 stage and talks about possibilities of having Japanese exclusives for the Xbox. He was basically talking about what they expect from E3 and just hyping it up. Like you said, they're always hyping it up every year. They're gonna say stuff like this, but I don't know. Like I don't really know what to think about this. They're talking about Japanese exclusive, to bring them over to the Xbox One. I feel like that's something that they probably should have done during the first year and second year of the Xbox One instead of having to wait until now. The Xbox One came out in 2013, so that's something that they probably should have done a long time ago. Instead of trying to do it now for the end of the life cycle of the Xbox One S at the very least, because the X is probably going to be here, moving forward for, a couple of years at least. But do you think this is going to be something that they're overhyping it? And when it comes to the Japanese exclusive, too little, too late?
I think they're a little bit overhyping it, but we shall see. I don't know. Xbox, Scalebound, the rumors have been the reason that the games struggle was because they forced Platinum Games to make a multiplayer aspect of the game into the single player games, right? That's where you see why Xbox gets the crap it gets on of not believing in single player games, right? And maybe for good reason. Quantum Break did not sell that well. Sunset Overdrive did not sell that well, and they're 2, single player games. So maybe Microsoft has lost interest because the fan base, that's what is clamoring, is more multiplayer games. But the only advice I can give Xbox fans is you need to buy this type of games if you want your console to have different type of games, and you're not seeing it right now. So anyway, we shall see, Caleones, and hopefully they do have some kind of Japanese exclusives because God did they need them.
Well, moving over to the next one, and this is Activision. They are talking about Destiny 2's fall expansion, which they say will be including a mode that it offers a whole new style of play, and that it will be incredibly engaging, making the players more powerful, providing more rewards, and making the end game more meaningful as well. For me, Destiny 2 has underperformed greatly. Destiny 1 had a lot of promises. A lot of people bought into it. But when it, like year after year, or they kept seeing that a lot of things that they could have had on the main game, they were including on the expansion. The story wasn't really fleshed out that much, and they did promise to make better changes for Destiny 2 on the newer consoles, but they went ahead and cut all the progress. So in any progress that you have had on the original game, they were basically making you start over. So whatever character you had, you basically had to leave it behind and just start with a new one. So that's something that really hurt players that had devoted so much time and a couple of years to the game and to the progress itself. And another thing is, I think the same way that Grand Theft Auto 5 has been killing open world games and things like that, Fortnite is really hurting a lot of other games like this one, where you have the dedicated online and you have people engaged online for long periods of time. I think Fortnite is really hurting them, and right now Activision is just trying to salvage anything they can do because the game is not performing like they really want to, and it's been I'll say it's subpar. And not really done anything close to what they were envisioning with Part 2.
You're right, bro. I'm not going to add much to say that it was interesting that Activision did not show Destiny 3 on the future IPs that they want to work on their investor call, but we shall see. You're right. I think you said it perfectly. So go ahead, Caleones, with the next one.
Okay, well, and the next one is that Spyro has gone over pre-order. So now you can go ahead and pre-order the game. It is available. This is for the PS4 version of it. So Dantes, are you going to be jumping on the pre-order of the game?
Don't think so. I may buy it, but not right now. Like not right now. I got too many games right now, Kevin. So we shall see. It's just a lot of games. Let me put it that way. Anyway, Kevin, let's go ahead.
Okay, well, and we have last piece of news. This is in regards to Call of Duty, and I'll say I can't really talk about the article because the very last page that we have for this one is not really loading, so I can't really talk about this piece of news. But about Call of Duty, they have been talking about one. This is all rumors, so nothing has been confirmed. But that Call of Duty is not going to have a single-player campaign. This is Black Ops 4. It's going to be just the multiplayer. Also, that hello PSV Xbox, welcome to the chat. Also, that they're going to have a separate Call of Duty game, which is going to be like a Call of Duty Battle Royale game, which is going to be separate from Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, of course, they're saying that it will not be coming over to the Nintendo Switch, but that the Battle Royale mode will be coming over to the system. So that's what they're talking about. And right now they don't really have any other concrete details except for that they have officially announced the title. And we'll see what they have to offer over at E3.
So the news was that they were saying that they were going to innovate with this new Call of Duty. And I think the innovation is the Battle Royale mode. A spin, I'm guessing. I don't think it's going to be like a Battle Royale, like exactly like typical, but it's going to have something like that, right? So we shall see. Interesting is I'm hopeful they don't take I don't care about Call of Duty, to clarify, but they shouldn't take the single-player game either aspect of it or the campaign. If they do that, we're in a wrong situation on that one, and I think fans should not buy it if they don't have the single-player campaign, in my opinion, because they're not selling you a full game. But we shall see, Caleones. We shall see. But with that, the last piece of news, Caleones, it's 58 minutes, so let's quickly go over to Chiguero's supermarket. Bing. So what are the hot games in this week in the market, Caleones?
Well, for the release of this week, so of course, you've already heard, we've already talked about it. Which one is the biggest title that has released for the system this week? And that, of course, is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It is a game that was originally available on the Wii U, but it has finally been ported over to the Nintendo Switch, and one that we basically I mean, I don't really have to say it, except for yes, that's officially my game of the week for the Nintendo Switch. But aside from that release, we have the following, which are John Turbo's Arcade Slide Spy, Japanese Matt Young, Don't Die Mr. Robot, Donkey Country Tropical Freeze, and for the ones for this week, and Dantes. And next week is going to be an interesting one because I'm going to be talking about a certain game. I'll touch upon it after we go from this one. But Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition, Raging Justice, Dead Road to Canada, Three Fourths Home Extended Edition, and those are pretty much the releases for this past week. Which with Three Fourths Home Extended Edition being one that will be releasing next week. So any other games like LFO, Lost Future Omega, Nihilumbra, Perfect Angle, Perfectional Construction, The Simulation, Timberman versus Stakes Winner, Yard Fight, Animal Super Squad, Terra Cresta, are others that have released as well. But like I said, Dantes, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, it is one of the best platforming games of the last decade. It is a very hard game. I challenge everybody not to play the funky mode. Just play it as it was meant to be because it is very challenging. And it is one, Dantes, that I believe whenever you get a chance and maybe when the game drops in price a little or you get the Best Buy Gamers Club discount, that you should definitely pick it up and try it out.
We shall see, Caleones. We shall see. But with that, Caleones, we're done, baby. Let's put that Xenoblade music so we can close the show with style.
Well, before we close, I want to say one last thing. It is that that we have received the review code of Battle Chasers Night War. We're going to be reviewing the game. The game releases on May 15th, but on May 11 is when they'll lift the embargo on it, so we can release gameplay videos. We can release any previews, and of course we can release the review of the game as well. So that's something that we will be featuring on this channel, and we'll see where the game lands next week when we talk about our games of the week.
We shall do that. But with that said, I want to thank everybody for watching Force In Unison Live, Cross, Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, episode 44, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make this to KCMS happy. Also remember, if you don't want to see ugly faces, we got a solution for you. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, baby Caleones, go down to the description box below so you can see the full channel schedule. Mondays, Xenoblade Mondays, even though I don't have anything for this Monday because of work. But anyway, next Monday I'll have something. Tuesday, Wednesdays, streaming Wednesdays. Fridays, Toys and More Club presents. Saturday, they're gonna get out Nintendo Podcast, and Sunday, Force In Unison Live. That's the normal schedule. Hopefully next week we'll adhere to it. Anyway, and with that said, Caleones, go to chicarosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, thank you again, everybody. Long live Nintendo and gaming. See you guys. Good night.